Hi guys, my name is Loisa Rinki and karibuni sana to the Unpacked platform where you basically talk about anything that happens in our society. With you here is an author and a poet, and I'm really excited to be here once again. And tonight we're going to be talking about relationship, and basically I'll be talking about me and what a relationship has been for me, my journey, how I've come to the place that I am at the moment. And I'll start with how I met my ex. I remember he was an alumni of a high school that I was. And the fact that he was so bright, he used to come for tours, benchmarking, how they used to come, advise, motivators, and all those things. And I really can't tell how I came to love him, though I used to see him every now and then. But at some points, he used to come for long holidays and teach in school. And I was there taking to him some math questions. He would help me solve them. And basically, whatever took me there, I sing him and just enjoying his company as much as I was learning. It took some way time before we got to know each other, because by that time I was living in my uncle's place. Yes, and he was so strict, so I couldn't be out and about with guys the way I want because I was under his rules and whatever restrictions he had for me. So by that time, I remember on a Sunday evening after we got out of church, he was accompanied by some other guys, and they came behind me. And I remember that I was so hungry after church, and I decided now that I'm hungry, I'm going to go and buy some snacks. I think I bought some cakes or something. I bought around six of them. Then I carried them in my pocket and I was like, I'm going to be eating one by one. But I just hope that these guys are not behind us. So he was him and some other guys. Some other guy, yeah. Then there was me and a lady who was a friend of mine. So we walked. At a single time, the more we went towards our home, he came near me, and the other guy went close to my friend. So now that I knew the friend he was with, I was not so much shocked about them and where they were going. Though I didn't know, but I knew this is a guy I know, though I know him in some ways. So we got to a place where we had two separate routes of going home. So the guy he was with and the lady I was with walked towards a different direction, and we took a different route. As we walked home, I remember how the first time I met him, he affirmed me and how many times he had seen me, and that was so crazy for me. I was like, wait, so you've seen me, so you know me, and so many other things. And I remember that day, he told me he's not my boyfriend, he's my man. I was like, wait, but I don't know you. How comes you from nowhere and you're my man? Like, but I was so naive. Actually, I was with him when I was in Form 2, so you can imagine the kind of lady who is there. So confused. So she's just there. Whatever is in her mind is going to school, learning at home, and very small things about me were running back in my head. So we had conversations, and later I went home. But the funny thing is, even after getting home, I couldn't recall his name. I couldn't recall how he looked like. I was so anxious. I was kind of confused. I was like, there are those pictures you feel like I never saw this coming, and I was so patient. We spent the night. I didn't have a phone, so we couldn't even converse, tell him whether I got home safe. It went on for some days, but by that time, remember, he was on a long holiday. So I had a very short time of meeting him before he had gone back to school. And one thing that I liked about him is his love for writing me letters. He would write them, write the date, write the time he was writing down the letter. It could get me in school. I could write. give someone, take it back to him. I mean, it was a whole episode that I'll never forget. That for the first time in my life, I met someone who had almost the same energy levels I had in life. And that one really made me happy, and it made my life so easier to know that he loves writing. He was such a poet. He had very nice pickup lines. And one thing I like about him, he he's drama free. He's so real. He he's so true to what he wants, and he's so focused. And with time, I got to know him mostly when I went home, because by that time I could have my parents for my mom's phone. I could chat him, maybe call him, have conversations. And I used to remember how I used to call him till 6 in the morning. How I used to text him. And mind you, he was busy, but he created time for me. Bearing in mind, I came from a family that was so strict. I mean, having my mom, and my mom knowing that I was having him was not even a big deal to my mom. But I knew if my dad got to know about this, I am done. So we walked, that is in Form 2, I joined Form 3, Form 4, and we were still connected and everything was working out so well. I remember we used to meet and the first questions were, how are you doing academically? Because I don't think, and I really hope, this relationship is not going to cost you being in school. If it has to cost you that, then you have to pause, because I really need a very bright wife in my family. I was like, do you remember very crazy incidences that we had when we were dating? I remember one time when we went for a date, and I think we were in a restricted area and policemen came. They were so furious, and now I felt, wait, it's on a Sunday. My parents didn't know where I am. And I was there overthinking, just in case they get lead of us. I don't know what I'm going to tell my parents. Lucky enough, he got his own ways of, I think, he paid them or something, and we were set free. We had a wonderful day. And one thing I also like about him is how authentic he was. It was not about the much money he had, it was about our time. Like, us seeing each other was on another level. I still remember a time when I took him home. When I was in Form 2, I took him home and I introduced him to my mom. But I planned the whole thing. Like, the previous day, I told my mom and my sister, my boyfriend will be coming, though he will not pass by home. So I'll have to go to the bus stop and pick him up and say hi to him as he goes to his place. And my mom was like, I think we can do something small for him. And I was like, all right. So they decided they go for the first service, then I would go for the second service, so that before he gets to our place at 1, I'll be out of church. And that's how I met him. Then I convinced him my parents are not at home. The only person who is my elder sister. So we can go say hi, then we're going to escort you. And that is what exactly happened. We went with him at home. Then my mom had prepared a very nice meal. We had conversations. We had so much catch ups. They really bonded so well with my family, and I really didn't feel like I'm with the wrong person. I remember my mom telling him, if you're dating my guy, I got no issue with that. But I really hope that you're going to give her time to study, and by the end of it all, you're going to have her if all ends well. And I was like, that's so cool. That is way in 2014. We dated and life was really good. He used to surprise me, he used to take me on date. He's this man. My ex was this man. Like, he knew whatever he wanted in life, so it wasn't really hard for him to do things on his own effortlessly. And the fact that I was in his life, things that I'm really happy about is that I didn't have time to be out and about with men, because at times I sit down and I'm like, if I didn't date that man for those 8 years, I don't know what I could be looking like. Because having him, I only had one person to look up to. because he nurtured me into the woman he wanted me to become, not his girlfriend, his woman. So you can imagine, I had so much to work on myself. I had so much. But things I came to realize as I grew older and older and older, I knew there are things he wanted me to become, and there are things I wanted to become. This is the woman I wanted to be. And we started having differences here and there. And at times, he has really fought, and he really fought for that relationship. I was that lady who was like, oh, a simple fight, a small fight, I want to leave. I want to break up. I don't want to do what I even didn't know what I wanted for life. But I kept trusting myself and saying, Lois, you know what? This man has really taken care of you, and it's been work to be the woman you are right now. So at times if you sit down and feel like you want to leave, he's not going to, as much as he's going to lose. I mean, he has made you such a wonderful lady. Like, you know yourself, you know what you want, you understand yourself better, your emotions. I mean, it's so much work that that guy did in my life. Today, I think about it and I'm so grateful for him being in my life. And anyway, we had some good time together. I mean, 8 years, it's a whole, I don't know what to say, but it's so much time being with someone. Like, you know that person perfectly well, and there's nothing in his life that you're not familiar about. Be it their parents, their sisters, you're really transparent about so many things. But the funny thing is, most of the time we were long distance. I mean, some far away places, and he's far away, but we're really in touch, and we communicated perfectly well. What is one thing that I learned about that relationship? Knowing what you want in life is really important. There's what people really want you to become, but knowing what you want in life is really important, because I got to a point when, after college, when I felt, wait, this is not what I wanted. I'm not ready for this. But I didn't know how to break the news to him. I couldn't just wake up one day and say, no, you're not what I'm looking for, blah, blah, blah. No, 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 no. I couldn't do such kind of things. And I didn't look for excuses to quit the relationship. I was just there. But I really loved him. I don't know. I even don't understand. But one thing I'm always thinking about is the transition that came when I came to know the woman that I am, what I can do, the things he doesn't like. I came to know about my personality, things that I'll be struggling with each and every time if I'm not going to change the cycle of things I do each and every time. And that gave me a very different picture of the kind of man I want in life. By that time, I didn't have so much in life, but I was also thinking about my childhood traumas, and I was like, like, I know you like him, I know he's a nice person, but let us go back to the roots of all this. As per now, and now that you know yourself perfectly well, is this the kind of man you want? And I could say every day, no, no, no. Even after all those years, I got to a point where, because the one thing I feel he forgot that as much as he's nurturing me and I'm growing, my view of things will be different at a single one time. And his view of things will be different. And it's gonna be work for us to work out. Like, I felt we had to sit down, talk about things. This is how I want my things done. This is how you want your things done. But during the time the transition came, we were in different places, in different phases of life, and we couldn't do anything about it. By that time, I was emotionally detached. I was like, I just want to leave this relationship. There was nothing wrong about it, but I just felt, no, I don't want to be in this relationship. This is not what I want. I cannot settle for this. This is gonna be so much work for me, and I'm not ready for it. And I remember when I was still in that phase, I used to write things I want in life, and I was so keen about them, so keen about them. I want this from a man, I want this from a man. And that's the time it hit me that whatever we ask from the Lord, He can provide for us. And I felt so much affirmed. I knew from now henceforth, we are moving to a direction of no return. And you got no option rather than move that way. I made my ways clear with God. I was very intentional about things I wanted. And that is when my things I did by that time got directions. I've got so many lessons I learned from that relationship, that you can always choose to be good. And having person for the longest time doesn't prove that you're going to get married to them. Number 3, if you find someone who really knows your love language, appreciate them. Because I know how much work it feels to have people who don't even understand you. Number 4, one thing that I learned in that relationship, that knowing your personality and the personality of your partner is really important, because you'll never fight over very simple things in life. You will never. It gets so easy for you to really communicate and know things that really trigger your anger, trigger your traumas, trigger so many things in your life. What can I tell my younger self at the moment? You did your best. I love the fact that I was not exposed to so many things, basically because I was in the life of one man for 8 years, and I'm so grateful. That is one thing I sit down today and I'm like, God, I'm so happy, so happy. Because I can't imagine stories I heard for boyfriends. I've broken up with them. No. At least the only person who has been in my life consistently in terms of relationship and romantic relationship is one man, and that was, I felt so content. That guy has taught me loyalty. That guy has taught me what to be a woman really feels like. But one thing I know, whatever and whoever he thought I was then and now are two different ladies. Very different ladies. I know he sits down and look at me and be like, no. Is this her? Like, what happened? I know. I know that I have changed in bad ways. No, I think there's so many things he didn't know I can do that I do now. He didn't know I'm outspoken. Yes. And I know at times he looks at me and he's like, oh, lo. What are these? Who is this? I don't know how excited he is, and I don't know how sad he is, but anyway, life has to continue, because in life we get to a point where we want to know what we want and we run with it. And it's been a simple journey for me. And before getting to break up with that guy, I think I was completely detached. So detached. I even didn't have time to cry, because I have had seasons where I really cried over the relationship. But at that time, I was like, yes, I'm ready to walk out. This one cannot continue. This one cannot go anywhere. I knew this one cannot go anywhere at that time. And that one doesn't mean that I had not forgiven enough. That one doesn't mean that I didn't want to work on it. But I felt whatever I wanted for life, whatever he wanted, was so different. And could be so much work. Because I think when it comes to things like beliefs and customs, and people believe in certain things, the same way like I'm a Christian, and maybe he has things he believes in. Like, wait, I have to wake up from my dreams and be like, yo, This is gonna be the dad of your kids. Are you ready for this? This this man will be your husband. Are you ready? Like, Lois, are you ready for this? And I felt all the time, I'm not ready for that. Especially after the transition of me getting out of college, and he was out of campus, and now I have things working out on my own without depending on anyone. I felt my life got some directions I could understand, because at the time I gave my life to Christ seriously. Yes, I was born again, but I felt I needed to renew my salvation with God, because honestly, I know I was in church and I was serving, but I felt my life held so much bitterness and pain and things that I couldn't heal from unless I prayed about them. And to this date, when I look at myself, I'm so happy of the place that I have been. And since I parted ways with him, it's it's been 3 years now. No dating, no what. And I'm so happy. It's been work. I had to evaluate myself. I need to know, what do you want? Who are you? What can you deal with? What can't you settle for? What can you compromise? What can't you compromise? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are you doing about them? What's your relationship with God? Where do you stand in career? What are the things that you love doing effortlessly? And I think it has been one of the beautiful journeys I have walked alone. I can be in a position to affirm myself. I can be in a position to remind myself each and every time that I deserve best. I deserve better. I can do great things. And it has been a wonderful journey for me. It has been. Yeah. I think that has been my love journey since then. And I don't think there's anything left out in the whole of that story. But I think the worst of all is breaking the news to my sisters and my mom that we are no longer together. They were well, but I remember my elder sister was like, "Let me tell you," she told me on her eyes. By the end of the episode you and your guy are having, you'll not come to date that man. You'll not come to get married to that man. I didn't understand what she told me then, because I was so mad in love. I was so crazy. They couldn't tell me anything about it. But when I look back, I totally understand why she said we couldn't be a couple. Because whatever I wanted in life after knowing, like my sister felt all this time, Lois, you're still young. You fell in love when you're so young. You don't know things you want in life. You're just there because it's a comfortable space. And I remember her telling me, the moment you're going to have things you call your own, that's when you'll be in a position to determine what you want in life. But as long as you're on someone's laps, you can never understand what life really needs of you. And today, I think about the whole thing and I'm like, for sure, she was so right. She was so right. I know she feels bad that I wasted 8 years, but when I look back, I thank God. But a single time, I broke the news to my mom, my younger sister, and they were okay with it. They were like, Lois, this is not the first man you're going to date. And he's not the last man. You'll meet so many other men. But from now henceforth, one thing I want you to do, I want you to understand that so many people will catch your eyes, but it takes someone special to catch your heart. And those are the words that I've ran with throughout, and I've never felt a regret in life. I've met nice people, but if I get to know you and I have butterflies, I don't find sleep, and I'm there thinking about you constantly, I feel like crazy. Number three, if you come to my life and I minimize the time I had, you take the place of God, you go. You go. Like, I don't compromise. If I find a guy and he gives me those four signs, I don't compromise. I've not dated since then. I've had coffees and all those things, but I've not been into a relationship. And one thing I'm grateful about is the fact that I came to know whom I am as a person. I'll not be just there vibing, having conversation, you calling me, you texting me from morning to evening. No, I'll be there asking you, by the way, where is this leading us to? Because I love my energy. I treasure my time. I have so many things to do. So if you're in this with me and others, I'm not that woman. If you're with me and you're weighing whether I'm what you're looking for, forget about me. If you like me because of the place I am at the moment, you go. I mean, it's been so much work to be the woman I am right now. If you're looking for a perfect woman, then I'm not that perfect woman. I am not. And one thing that I like, as per now, I thrive in from unknown to known. I don't have expectations. I know there's expectations I have about the kind of man I want, but I'll not be laying down foundations. I want my man to be like, I want you to. No, I don't do those things. Come the way you are. With time, I'll be in a position to know whether I can deal with you or not, whether you can be in my life to stay or to be a friend. What have I, what can't I allow at the moment? If you're too expensive for me, you leave. And I'm really okay with that. And it's made me the woman that I am right now. And I'm so excited and I'm so happy. I'm so happy and I can't regret a thing as for now. Yes. Of course, there's some people who have walked this journey with me. I've read about it. And I've done a lot of journals throughout this journey. And the fact that I told God about this and I was so open about things I have done in my past that caused me traumas each and every time. And I knew from this time we are moving. And from that time, I think my life has been a best place to be. I've never felt lonely. I've never felt I need a man. Like I need someone in my life. I'm so crazy and I think I'm way past looks and how people appear, how a man appears, and they're excited and all over. No, I'm so calm. Like, yes, because there's more than the eyes can see. And there's much more than how people talk. There's much more than what people have. That you cannot just see with your open naked eyes. You just need to sit down, pray about it, and pray about every decisions, because I think most of the decisions that I made in my life, I made them when things were so bad. I wish when I got that man, I had a time to tell God, God, this is what I have. I pray that you may give me guidance. But I didn't do. I was so in love. I was swimming in love. And I couldn't think about such kind of thing until there was a breakup and I could go there and I used to cry. And I can imagine how bad God felt about me being there. He was there all the time. I didn't consult him about anything. I felt I knew. We felt, hey, it's so hot. And I mean, I don't know what that feels for me, but I'm really excited that I'm wherever I am right now. At times I sit down and I see people struggle in love. I see people mishandled. I see people crying in love and I'm like, you don't deserve to be there, baby. You don't. You deserve better. And before you deserve better, you must have done some great work for yourself. Not for any other person, but for yourself. I'm always working for myself to attract the person that I'm looking for. He might not be exactly what I'm looking for, but I have so much work to do for myself. Thank you so much And from now henceforth, I can now be in a position to talk about what love has taught me, what I understood, what you should not do, how to deal with breakups, how to deal with narcissists, how to deal. I can be in a position to talk about that effortlessly because I know what that has felt for me. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.